Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Belle again, and welcome to The Roads with Belle. Today is August 17th, 2025, and this is episode 104 of The Roads Not Taken, which is a weekly series where we go over the news that was unreported, underreported, didn't get the coverage we thought it deserved, or we just found it interesting. And then we go through some questions from y'all. Today is August 17th, and today is National Thrift Shop Day. And on this date in 1960, the trial of Francis Gary Powers started in the Soviet Union. He was a U-2 pilot shot down over the country and was charged with espionage. And starting with foreign policy, Trump and Putin had their peace summit. Putin got what he wanted, which was a delay, and Trump got nothing. There was no deal. Trump is trying to spin a promise of a peace agreement and an abandonment of his ceasefire plan as a win in some way. Putin mocked Trump in a very Russian way, and Republicans who believed the war wouldn't have happened if Trump was in office took it as a compliment. When Putin said the hostilities wouldn't have spiked between the U.S. and Russia if Trump was in office, he was kind of saying Trump wouldn't stand up to him. If you're wondering why he would say this, it's because Russians find the talking point that the war wouldn't have happened if Trump was in office hilarious and a display of American ignorance. Because the first uniformed engagement between Ukrainian and Russian forces occurred during the Kerch Strait incident under Trump, and he did nothing. Hundreds were lost in a flash flood in Pakistan and India. Thousands have fled their homes. Ukraine struck a Russian oil refinery, causing significant damage. A Russian ship reportedly carrying drone parts was also hit. Mali has arrested some generals and a French national. The government is alleging a coup plot. After Trump's failed strikes on Iran, European powers are trying to push Iran back to the nuclear negotiating table. The International Court of Justice has determined nations are liable for fossil fuel harms. U.S. military units are deploying across the Caribbean to counter drug groups. Eric Prince of Blackwater fame is deploying hundreds of contractors to Haiti. Expectations say the presence would be required for a decade. In U.S. news, Trump's approval rating craters to 38%. D.C.'s police chief is retaining power after Trump's attempted power grab seems to fizzle a bit amid legal pushback and citizen outrage. Democrats have introduced a resolution to end the move outright. New Orleans Mayor Cantrell was indicted for charges related to corruption, conspiracy, and obstruction. Abbott is calling for a second special session to focus on redistricting. Republicans still have not resolved the issues with the flood in the state because they're too busy trying to gerrymander to protect their party from Trump's failures. In cultural news, Governor Newsom is continuing the bit of social media posts in Trump's distinctive style. It's definitely getting a response. Religious leaders are condemning Trump's moves against the homeless in D.C. A judge struck down Trump's education department's guidance against DEI programs. In science news, Hurricane Erin is the first of the 2025 season. So far, the Cat 5 track is still very much in question. The famous Lucy fossils are leaving Ethiopia and heading to Europe for an exhibition. Global plastic treaty talks appear to have totally failed. There's a cholera outbreak in Sudan. In economic news, more people expect unemployment to climb over the next year than at any point since the Great Recession. That's a worrisome sign for the GDP. Trump says the U.S. won't be buying more Bitcoin, angering tech bros. The latest wholesale inflation numbers and jobs correction numbers have forced the Fed to adjust their thinking about rate cuts. Current thinking is that they won't be as big if they happen at all now. In oddities, Trump's weird streak continued. He reportedly cold-called a Norwegian minister to ask about the Nobel Prize. On to the Q&A. Our first question. Is it recession, depression, or stagflation? I've seen well-respected economists say all three. There's debate over this because it isn't clear yet. Right now, the signs point to stagflation, but tomorrow consumers could decide to stop buying as much, and then it goes to recession being most likely. The debate exists because people are trying to call it too early. I too finally had the nerve to send a question, or perhaps maybe a rant. Your last video with the question involving how to display empathy to the other side really had me thinking. To jump to the question, is it even possible to break someone's belief, specifically in the context of the modern era? Because I can show these people plenty of empathy. I've been there to pick some of them up. I can even get them to acknowledge how harmful, genuinely fascist, or just outright stupid. Yet, once they leave my face, it all falls away, and their actions don't change. This may end up as a video on the main channel as well, because there's more to it than just a quick answer. But the quick answer is yes, people can change. And the biggest evidence of this is the existence of MAGA to begin with. Could the movement like this exist 20 years ago? Would it be mainstream? People change their views on key issues to even allow MAGA to happen. Change takes time. First, thank you for being so consistent with your presentations and upload times. That provides me with a welcome bit of consistency in these chaotic times, especially as an autistic person. Second, I have a question. I'm a trans person in the Deep South. I'm deeply concerned by the social trends that have accompanied the Trump era. What signs should I look out for that things have reached a turning point and I need to evacuate? So questions like this always throw me a little bit because everybody's situation is different. Immediate questions that entered my mind is whether it's rural Deep South, urban Deep South, your economic situation, your ability to move quickly, whether you mean overseas or to another part of the U.S. Do you have networks in place that you're planning on going to? If you're wealthy and you live in New Orleans, plan on moving to California, don't have kids, and have a friend network in Sacramento, you don't really need a lot of lead-up time. But if you're working class, living in a rural area, have 2 kids, and plan on moving overseas to a place where you don't know anybody, you have to start at least planning way before any warning signs show up. I am going to go back to the idea that when it comes to safety, if there's doubt, there's no doubt. How did you know Arnold was going to come out against California redistricting? I lost so much respect for him. It's part of his legacy. He had to fight for it twice. Even with the temporary nature, it hurts his legacy. And he's friends with a lot of state-level Republicans who will see their power decline for the next few years. So, that looks like it. A little more information, a little more context, and having the right information will make all the difference. Y'all have a good day.